Come join me as I turn this 3-acre desert land into a native forest again. But first, if you watched the last episode, then you'll know where I am. This place is a pot of gold. I found a location, well, really it was sent to me by a subscriber that gives free mulch, free compost. And so, of course, every week before we go to the land, I'm going to put my son to work and we're going to collect some. We just picked up about 60 pounds of compost, filled that up, filled this up, and I'm super grateful to have a spot like this. The one thing that I was reflecting on is through the conversations I've been having with people and seeing people come in and out, they're all just much older. They're all 50s, 60s, 70s, which is amazing. It's beautiful to see that they're still so passionate about gardening. However, the lack of youth is a little concerning because I want this to be more of, I want this to be more normalized for my generation and the ones after. So I hope these videos can serve as some inspiration to the younger generations to get their hands dirty and start working with the soil and the land again. Before we got to work on the land, I wanted to show you how you can tell if the land is degraded and if the land is really dead and needs rehabilitation. And the easiest thing to spot are the cracks in the soil. So one, of course, these open, barren, patches. But two, when you specifically see these cracks, that's how you know there is just no life. It is devoid of all life in that soil. There's no microbial activity, and it's really sad. So on the way to the land, I decided to pull over to show you guys the destruction of untamed, unmanaged water. Look at this. Look at this erosion at play. This goes on for miles. This just strips the land of its integrity. Look at it. This is exactly what it does. This, was never down here. You see the level all the way down here? This was risen. And over time, as the water comes by, washes things away. It just digs into the ground and makes these even deeper and deeper and deeper until this collapse. And this is how you get the collapse of, the land, the integrity of the land. It's over time, but it happens if it's unmanaged. As we were surveying the land, we found so much life coming out of the compost. You see right here some wildflowers coming about. There are also other seeds of ours that are sprouting right here. This is a type of lupine, and this is going to look beautiful, especially when it starts flowering in the spring and summertime. Our grass seeds are really coming about, and everything is just starting to come. Everything is just starting to grow, and I'm so happy about it. And I wanted to show you this comparison when, the land is just uncovered. It is just barren like this. There's no green, nothing really growing. The growth is going to be coming from the shade. It's going to be coming from underneath bushes, underneath piles like this one. Let me show you the growth in here. This is nuts. It is growing way faster than the rest of the land. And I'm just proving with every single video what I'm showing you guys is working. This is not me spending hundreds and thousands of dollars. This is me using materials from the lands. Look at all that growth. And just to show you another comparison, the land right outside of this dam is not growing, but look at what is happening underneath the shade. In another example, the logs or the wood that we brought from the chopped down Joshua trees, they're giving shade, they're holding moisture. Okay, it is not rocket science, guys. Work with the land, work with the materials of the land, and you will get your results if you know what you're doing. And of course, I got to show you the weekly checkup on our trees, the babies of the land, and they are doing so well. This is without me physically watering them or any type of irrigation. This is because it's the rainy season. I want nature to, feed them, to water them, and man, are they drinking it up. You can see so much growth, especially if you are comparing it to the last couple of videos.
And we did get a visitor on the land, which I thought was really awesome because this is my first lizard that I found. Well, the first lizard of this size. And so this is, proof that the ecosystem is really getting back into balance. Here are more trees growing. Look at that. They are coexisting really, really well. I'm really impressed with this one because I didn't amend the soil. I just put it in right there and it's actually thriving. It's growing along some other greenery. So this is great news. This is a great sign for what we're doing.
We are composting, digging to eat.
My son wanted the limelight, so I gave it to him, but you will never see his face really clearly. I do not, and my wife do not like putting him on social media yet. He is too young for it. However, I know he wants to be included in the project. And I know that the more fun that I make it for him, the more it's going to leave a lasting impression, and the more he's going to want to do it and me not have to really ask him or try to force him when he gets bigger. So this is such an amazing experience for him. He gets to really learn what the soil is doing, what's happening beneath the ground. He gets to get a little sweaty and a little dirty, which all kids need nowadays. Not just 8 hours in a box called the classroom. They need real life experience. I'm a huge proponent of that. And so you'll be seeing my children in more of my videos down the line. Now with the compost that we got today, we're going to be putting it in this nabo pit and making sure that we layer this. And we're also going to be putting it in our other pit so that we can start planting all of those agaves that you've seen. And mind you, all of those agaves that I found were actually on the side of the road. They were completely free by nature, given off by an old agave plant that had, repopulated itself. So I brought it over here because I know that the land would love them here. The animals would love them here. And I'd rather see them here than on the side of an LA street, if you know what I mean. It's so cool how these plants are able to repopulate themselves, just make mini-me's and really spread themselves by cloning themselves. And so I am going to put a bunch of them on this side of the pit, and I am going to be planting them in a really, really tight space, a high density in a tight space. They aren't going to stay like this. I just want them to take root here. The soil and the mulch that we put down is moist, and this is really all we're going to need until it rains because they don't like a lot of water. I've been really doubling down on the amount of agaves that we want on the land because one, they don't need really much water. And two, they look beautiful. There's so many different kinds of agaves. They have lots of practical and medicinal uses. And so why not? And to kind of speed up production, I'm going to be growing a bunch of them here in our warehouse, which really serves as a great greenhouse for them. I'm going to be using pots full of the native soil that I took off of the land so that, one, they get used to this, grade of soil. I don't want them getting used to the soil that I have here available to me because it's too nice, it's too moist. And if I try to transplant them into something like this, they're not going to like it. They're going to be a little spoiled. And so it's better to root them in this type of soil, in the native soil that you're going to be using. And as I was watering, I actually wanted to show you, in real time, up close, how bad and how compact this soil can really get. Look at the penetration of the water. It's absolutely non-existent. It's staying here for at least a couple of minutes. And this is a part of the problem. So the more plants that we can add in to really break up the soil with their roots, the better. And even though I wasn't planning on really digging today, this one YouTube video changed that for me. What you're seeing here is a screenshot of somebody that I subscribe to here on YouTube. His @name is Food Force Nambia, and he teaches people over there in this African region how to do permaculture, and he works with the community and stuff, and it's really cool. And this event, he had a horrible rainstorm. He said it was, like a once in 100-year type of rain event, and none of his swales, none of his really earthworks were able to hold it. And it had me thinking a lot, because with the way that climate change is going, we are experiencing a really big shift in weather. And I remember watching a documentary, and they were describing how a lot of these desert lands are going to be experiencing less rain, but more at one time. And so that's really dangerous, because when you have this sudden onset of rain, this onslaught of all this rain, the land is too compact to hold it. And that is when you get into your flood and drought cycles, where instant flood comes, washes away a bunch, does a lot of erosion, a lot of destruction to the land, and then it dries up, and there's a really long drought throughout the year, which compacts it even more, and then makes it even worse when the next rain cycle comes. It creates another flood, and so on and so on, and you're in this state of perpetual just erosion and degradation of the land. And so we don't want that. And that video of his, shout out to him and everything that they have been able to achieve over there. But it really put a fire under my butt to start making more of these earthworks that I had already planned on doing, but I got kind of, just a little too laid back and a little lazy. But yeah, it definitely inspired me to put my boots on the ground, put the shovel to the ground, and start preparing for, cases like that. It's a couple feet deep and some feet wide, and I didn't want to make it bigger because I need to remind people that we are more, up on the slope. We're more towards the peak, and so we don't get as much force as, him, where he's more on the valley and the water already had so much time to build up force. And of course, I do not like digging anything without covering up, because I have taught you guys the importance of covering up the soil, and also the importance that I really didn't mention, but the importance of these leaves and branches is that they leach nitrogen. They are going to leach their minerals over time. The water will gently leach everything into the soil beneath it. So it will be feeding the plants over time, and that's another reason why you're seeing all the green, grow so fast before anything else. And after covering up the agaves to make sure they don't get eaten by any herbivores, that was really it. It was a short day on the land. I got to spend the rest of my time with my son. And yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying these episodes. I want to show you this beautiful, beautiful sunset so that you can enjoy it with me. And I hope that you check out the rest of the episodes. Thank you so much for your guys' support.